Hi everybody, my name is Jan Dufour and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from just outside of Louisville, Kentucky. Today we're going to do bags and pouches. I'm going to show you 3 different things that you can make. I'm using the same set as I did last week called Tricks and Treats. It does have a die set as well as photopolymer. I'm using the same little guys, which I showed you how to stamp multiple times using a stamp positioner, either one you already have, or if you go to my other blog about creating your own stamp positioner, I can show you how to do that. In this one, I was doing doubles on a sheet cut this way, and then cutting them out with the dies. I'm going to show you today a little bit different so that you might not have to take quite as long cutting each individual face out, which is very cute, and I'm going to show you how I made the topper. But I'm also going to show you how you can cut up or punch out using our decorative circle punch or some other bigger circle, and then just repeatedly stamp the insert or this guy on there. This guy's a real close, a tight section, so we're gonna do the vampire, but I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna show you how I made the topper up here. As I said, we made multiples of the little guys, and what you need to go with that is a piece of cardstock. I'm using Fresh Freesia because I bought these bags at the $1.25 store. I'm saying that facetiously, at the dollar store. There's 25 in a pack for $1.25. So that comes out, well, I figured it out for you. I did a whole bunch of math. It's amazing, all of the math that I did. So it cost 5 cents a piece, making them with this bag. Now this bag was much longer, as you can see, this long. I cut it because I'm not putting that many treats in there. And so to make this, like I said, you need a piece of cardstock. This is Fresh Freesia, and it's cut 5 by 3.5. And it is scored. I scored this one and the next one. And it's scored at 1 3/4. 1 3/4, which is right down the middle. Why did I choose this size? I don't know, because I did. I also am going to show you how to do, how to make a topper with our clear envelopes. And that one can be a little bit narrower. Doing it this way with the larger bag, you can only get 3 of them on a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. We do sell colors in groups like brights, which would work with all of these. So would the in colors. And that way you can get 6 of them on each one. So a package of that would be 160 of these. So probably don't need that many. That would cost you 8 cents a piece. And then with the clear envelope, that would make it, this would cost 14 cents a piece. So about 20 cents or maybe 25 cents a person. If you're doing it for a large bunch, the dollar amount matters. If you're just making 10 of them for a party, then it's not so important. But for this guy, I purposely, it does hang out just a hair, but by doing it this way, you can get 6 of them on there because I made it 4 1/4 across by 3.5, and that way you can get more on there. So that's the reason I did it that way. So that one's scored, and then I need, what did I do with the other shorter one? Here it is. I'm going to go ahead and score this now so I can get rid of it. This is for the shorter one for our clear envelopes. It is 4 1/4 by 3.5, and I'm scoring it at 1 3/4. All right, now I can put the scoreboard away. I'm gonna put these little guys up. Now I'm gonna show you how I stamped, getting all kinds of things attached here because there's a magnet in here. So what I did was I took a piece of scraps cardstock, I don't even know the measurements exactly, and punched out one of these. Actually, I punched two, but the point is then you can put this up here and make it stay. And then center this guy wherever you want him inside, like that, and then pick him up. Oops, I had my finger in there, that's why it didn't come up. Then it all came out. All right, so the photopolymer is very sticky, so it's in there. I'm gonna make sure I put this back the same way or it won't fit. Yeah, okay, so, and then the trick to this is, then you can take scrap paper. Let me see if I have some that's wide enough, I do. And you can just go ahead and punch them out real close together. You're not wasting a lot. Again, this was just scrap paper that I had. Yep. And this is very quick, obviously, much faster than doing die cutting. We'll throw that away. And then because you have a template, and I've got lots of other examples on my website, and then you put it inside, and this does have, it's wider up here than here. So you have to make sure you're putting it in the correct way so that it fits. But you basically put it back where it belongs, where it got cut out. And you take your ink, and we'll get him all, I did it again. He is not black. He is supposed to be seafoam green. Now in last week's video, I'm looking for my cleaning cloth. Last week's video, I just cut it out because I had made a mistake on something else. I'm just gonna leave it in so that you can see that I messed up. We are gonna erase that. There we go. At least I didn't punch it this time. All right, let's try that again. Get that dried off a little bit. We're gonna use soft seafoam to get his green face for the background. And we're gonna stamp, get it all over. It comes off, there you go. And then you just keep putting them in there. Like I said, you gotta get them in there with the right, nope, it's the fat one, this way. You gotta make sure you get it in there. Doing it at an angle is even more fun, hang on. The light is coming up, here we go. The light's coming in just perfect. And then you just keep repeating because it's in a template and you know it's going to be in the right place. You write around. And there you go. So I'm just going to put him away for now. We're just going to do the one. And we're going to take, let's see, let's do the longer one first. Now, I also stamped Trick or Treat. This is on the bigger bag. I also stamped Trick or Treat. And so you have to do that before you, well, you don't have to actually. You could do it at the same time after it's already been folded, but it would probably stamp more consistently if you did it. So I'm going to take this out because we're done with that. And I'm going to take the stamp off and clean that later. And so, like I said, you can do it this way, or you can open it up, lay it down. I think that's what I'm going to do. It gives me more space to put the Trick or Treat over here. And the Trick or Treat is over here. Actually, I didn't even use, when I did it, I didn't even use the Stamparatus, so I'll leave it up to you. But what you would do if you did use the Stamparatus would be to position this right where you want it. I'm going to go ahead and just stamp it so you can see that it can be done that way as well. I'll put this away. All right, so I'm just going to leave it open. Make sure it's back on there good. Put that our darker color open. Again, doing this at an angle. Hope you don't see my head. I think I might have put it up a little too high. We'll see. Nope, it'll make it. There we go. Now, because the first one I made was using it this way, I'm going to go ahead and make this one this way. And I'll show you how I did the other one. So I'm just going to put him on here with dimensionals, which I used up all of my dimensionals, so I have to get some more. It takes, whoops. You don't want to put it up too high. You noticed I was able to take it off. If you peel it from the base, I'm just going to do 3. If you peel from the very bottom and roll it back slowly, if you haven't pressed it down too hard, it will come off. So I'm just going to put him basically like that. And then what I did on the bags, like I said, they were very long and they're also gusseted, which means they open up. I think they're gusseted, yeah. So they open up, so you can get like a really fat thing in there. And I was not interested in filling the bag. These are gonna be for a little party, you know, with about 10 kids in there. You can make it whatever length you want. I think I picked 6. These are 12 inches. I picked 6 thinking, well, of course, there's now a hole at the top and the bottom. Well, I was thinking initially that I could just use some tear and tape and put some first inside and then close it. But it is gusseted, and so there's that issue. And I thought, you know what? They're 5 cents a piece. I'm throwing those away. Maybe someday I could have thought of something else to do with them, but not today. So we can go ahead and put the treat in. And then all I did was staple it. And you can either choose to go all the way down or, you know, pop it up depending on what you're putting in there. And I do have colored staples, but especially for Halloween, you know, whatever color is, I mean, silver would be fine. So that's the first one. Now on the second one, where we stamped in here, after you've done all of the green, you would go back and you would do the black. But I decided I'm just going to stamp, if I can find him. Oh yeah, here he is. I'm just going to go ahead and stamp on top again to show you that you don't have to use a Stamparatus if you don't want to. The advantage of the Stamparatus, there's obviously many of them, but the biggest advantage is if you misstamp, you can stamp again. It's a little harder when you're using this in a template because if it's not exactly perfect. But the other thing is if you're doing multiples, it's obviously much quicker. But this, you just line up the 2 edges with the top of his ear and he will be very good. And again, you can also do the green part. As you can see, it works out well. You can do the green part as well without the Stamparatus. I'm going to have to do trick or treat on this one as well. So on this one, you can also do the one that's cut like this. I'm going to save him for the other bag. Pop him up if you want to or don't. I'm going to do the trick or treat again. These photopolymer stamps fairly well 90% of the time, particularly even on the thicker, or not thicker, but solid stamps. So there you go. We better clean this up because with my luck, I will stick my finger right in the middle of it. All right, so we need a couple dimensionals. Now our clear envelopes, they were originally because people loved, we used to do in the 90s and the early 2000s, we used to mail all kinds of fun stuff to different people. Just, you know, you get postage on it and they're required to send it. And I do have a friend from Cincinnati who actually mailed a plunger, not boxed up, just the plunger, which was hilarious. but as long as it's properly addressed, she wrote the address right on the handle. And as long as the postage is correct, they have to deliver it. So anyway, I would recommend when you're doing these, before you, as you can see, it's a clear, meant to be an envelope for an A2 card. I would fill it up and then close it as it's supposed to be, and then go ahead and put this on. And like I said, it's just a hair bigger. Believe me, the kids are going to tear into the treats and you're not even going to see. Nobody will ever know. And that way you can make 6 out of 1 set. So that's the second treat bag. Now with the set that comes, the die set, you get a lot of other things that stick together. No, you get this box or little bag template. You get a haunted house to cut out. That is a stamp. This is a candy corn, and that there is no stamp for that. You can cut out boo. There's no stamp for that. This is meant to go around the trick or treat sign. Of course, you've got your 2 heads. You've got a little ghost too. So those are extra. But in order to cut out this guy, you have to use 2 sheets, which, you know, if you're doing a whole bunch, it's not economical. But if you are just making a few, you could stick it right in the middle. But I'm kind of thrifty, and I might be able to use that little piece there. You do have to stick it down good. And I'm going to pause for a second and run it through the die cut machine. Alrighty, I'm back. I did want to remind you, I did cut through 2 layers of our DSP. They're not thin pieces of paper, but they are a little bit slimmer than the cardstock. So if you're making it out of DSP, you can definitely cut both of them at the same time. That saves you a little bit of time. You do have to assemble these. It's not difficult at all. I don't know if I'll ever use those other sides, but this is what I tend to do. You never know. Those might come in handy. All right. So the first thing you need to do is decide which side you're going to do. I decided I liked the bigger. On the card, I used the smaller one, but on the bigger one, I prefer this. So you have to look at, I can't see very well, to go ahead and fold and burnish them. Oops, not that side. There we go. And do that again on this one. I'm just feeling for the, kind of helps me know when to try to start bending, and it bends naturally. All right, so we've got them all scored up. The way I do it is I do use the silicone pad. If you don't and it smears, you're gonna get sticky on whatever you're doing, which is fine. I mean, if it's a piece of paper, you can throw it away. I just tend to use this when I'm using glue that I think might come over. It does not require a lot. This glue is very strong. I kind of went down the middle so that I wasn't less apt to come out on either this edge or that edge. Then you just lay this down beside it. Don't make the mistake of putting this other skinny side next to it. Make sure your tabs are all down at the bottom. Just give it a minute to set. And there was a little tiny bit that came out, which is fine. That will dry clear and nobody will know. Now for the second one, it's a little bit easier in that you can put, again, right down the center. Oops, there we go. And then just fold, and that should match up. Oops. Should being the operative word. There we go. And again, we're just going to press and let it get a little drying time in. There's a little bit of sticky on there maybe. And just fold it back. All right. Now, generally when you make a box, here's where I glued. I would like this to be in the back. That's usually what you're going for. There is one on each side, so it's not as doesn't matter as much. If you did want it to go to the back, if you wanted this to be the back, you would fold these in, which you do anyway, but then you would fold this one down first so that the front goes that way. Again, it doesn't matter. I will caution you, you can put glue anywhere on this tab and on this tab, but you don't want to put glue all over this tab. And the reason is you can put it all over here and not quite going to the end because these are not full. In other words, they don't come all the way down. So I'm going to push it a little bit, stand it up, close my bottle, and stick it inside. And I use my bottle, I'm just picking it up and pushing it down. It gives me a nice firm surface. And there you have it. The next thing, I'm going to squeeze it this way. You can do this beforehand when they're still separate. You just have to line them up. This way I know it's lined up, and I'm just going to make a hole in the center and then try to take it off. All right. When you put the thing together, you can kind of do it like that. I've seen little purses made that way, but we're going to do it this way. And that's how it's going to hold the treat. Now, I'm not going to squeeze it and force a crease line all the way down. I'm just going a little ways down so that it's not trying to not come together so well. And then on this side, we made a little guy to go right there. Now, this is what you would call a casual stamper. Doesn't take a lot of supplies. Stamps, ink, and in this case, a die cut machine. Usually it's ink, stamps, and embellishments. We have that as well. But then I wanted to show you an avid stamper might add a few things. It does not necessarily mean that an avid stamper is a really talented one, although that of course can happen. Avid stamping is generally a term used when you use more stuff, because not everybody has a lot of stuff. So I'm going to show you how to make this guy. All I did was I took a piece of 1 by 3 1/4. Get this out of the way. And I put it through, well, my hands are sticky. I put it through our label, Happy Label Punch. It makes like a theater ticket, and I'm not sure what that's representative of, but a little bubbly thing along the edge. I like the ticket one, especially on Halloween. It just looks rugged. Just push it in all the way to the edge so it's straight. And pull that out, and then you have a cute little edging. I don't know, can you see that? Yeah. And then you do it again to the other side. I always put it in here and flip it over, because all of these tag makers or edge makers, you can move them around, see where it's not laying flat. So it's always good to look and make sure that it's laying flat. Get rid of that. And then for the thread, all I did, and I didn't really make it big enough, so this time I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, is go around about 3 times and then cut the thread. And then it's very wiggly, and if that's okay, is curly, because it went around a curl. And if you like that, in this case, it might work out really good. But if you like it to be straighter, all you have to do is run your thumb along or nail around that, and it gets really straight. So that's just another little hint. All right, so let's wrap this around again. I'm going to leave it curly this time. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Now this is going to be probably bigger than the bag, which I'm okay with. Kind of pinch it in the middle, but I try to make it flat in the middle. And the reason for that is because I'm going to put glue dots on them. And I pulled that too tight. Hang on. All right. This is just a cord so that I can pull these off without having to pull them on. So I'm putting 2 on there because there's a lot of thread It doesn't really have to hold them in place. I don't know if you can see the glue dots in there. It's a temporary holder. And then I'm going to take the little guy that I made and do it at an angle so that it's kind of spider webby like. Then I'm going to put some dimensionals, and I'm just going to put a couple right here. I'm doing it on this tab because I know that this is going to be completely covering this, whereas if I put them on here, I'm hoping I'll hit the thing, you know what I mean, the thing. There we go. And there you have it. And then for here, I am going to put a bunch more dimensionals, provided I can find them. I'm going to put, one at the top, one at the bottom, one in the middle. And then I'm going to have it make contact out here a little bit, just to help lay it so it doesn't try to rock. So in this one, I put 5. Dimensionals are extremely inexpensive, so I don't usually worry about that too much. And then we're going to lay it down. Oh yeah, I like it with it being way over. It kind of makes it look like a web is coming out from behind him. Now, this is for treats. So, just for fun, 3 regular size Ghirardelli, and those will fit. You can probably put things that are a little bit taller, but it comes together nicely. So there's 3 of those. You could probably put a chapstick and a treat in there. That would work. I have a bunch of Dove Promises with little, I've got 8 of them. As long as they all go down to the bottom, you don't want them to come up too far, and I have a friend who would make sure that those were in there just so neat and back to each other. I don't really care. I'm going to go ahead and close this now to show you the little bit of ribbon. It's 10 inches of ribbon. All of the measurements will be on my blog. If you are watching me on YouTube, go to the web address that I've got underneath in the instructions. It'll take you to my blog where this is posted. It'll have a project sheet with all of the measurements. Well, provided I can tie the bow. With all of the measurements and a picture of the project, so that you can remember what it is the instructions are for. So there you have it. There's a little treat bag for an avid stamper. Actually, it doesn't matter. They're both cute. He's very cute as well. I also had a couple other treats. You can put 2 Reese's cups in there. They're blown, there's air in there so that the cups don't get all crushed. So you can only fit 2 of those. And then I had 6 of these. Now, one question that came up that somebody asked me, I'm trying to get these out of the way for you, is whether or not a gift card would fit in there. And the answer is yes. So isn't that cool? All right. Well, I hope that this was helpful and you enjoyed it. You can laugh at my mistakes. That's okay. Again, if you're on YouTube, you need to go to my website, stampmesilly.com. That will give you the project sheet and some directions on assembly. My email address for any questions or if you want a catalog is jandufour@yahoo.com. If you'd like to order any of these supplies, you can go to jandufour.stampinup.net. Thanks so much for watching. I really enjoyed it. Bye.